It's one small step for man.
Stjernholm Reviews. Making hi-fi great again and saving the wildlife habitats of the world. Join our Patreon and take part while enjoying all our exclusive listening session, early releases, and much, much more. Stjernholm Reviews. Your sound, your music, your planet.
Welcome to the Naked Chair Hi-Fi listening session. The tracks were carefully selected by the Silverback listening team and our awesome patrons at Stjernholm Reviews. This playlist is designed for consistent speaker comparison recordings made in the same room with a high-end microphone setup, featuring many genres of recordings that are guaranteed to challenge any system and give you a quick, consistent way of testing your system and improvements. In this guided session, you will set the correct reference volume, lean back, and test your system while I guide you through some of the tracks we often use for speaker evaluation. The full-length versions of all tracks can be found on Tidal and Cobas under the playlist name Stjernholm Reviews Naked Chair Listening Session. Because the tracks vary wildly, some extremely dynamic and others heavily compressed, the entire program has been loudness normalized to the same subjective level. It will probably sound noticeably quieter than you're used to. This is completely intentional. For the best frequency balance and to let your ears work optimally, the average playback level should be set around 79 to 82 dB SPL. Simply adjust the volume right now so my voice sounds comfortable and natural, exactly if I was sitting in the room with you speaking out clearly. For the more precise calibration, the program begins with 15 seconds of full bandwidth pink noise at the reference level. If you have a SPL meter on hand, set it to C-weighted, slow, and adjust it until it reads around 79 to 82 dBs in your listening position. When correctly calibrated, the loudest short peaks will reach around 100 dB SPL. If your system cannot comfortably deliver those peaks, simply lower the volume a little. If it's a larger, more powerful system, you can try to play it back 5 dBs louder if you're comfortable with that. The levels are safe for your ears if your system can deliver. Before we start, let's quickly check that your system is wired correctly. This is my voice in the left speaker. This is my voice in the right speaker. This is my voice in phase. It should sound focused and solid in the center of your soundstage. If there was anything that sounded wrong during the phase check, please fix it before continuing to get the most from the session. Here is the 15 seconds of pink noise. Now, let's work on our listening position. To get the most from the stereo image, position yourself in the sweet spot between your speakers, the place where your system and room produce the best possible soundstage. We often use the intro from Roger Waters' album Amused to Death to quickly check if we are seated correctly. The recording uses something called Q sound. It's a psychoacoustic effect that can play sounds far outside the speakers. First, you will hear some crickets, then a dog barking. The dog is our focus. We want the dog to appear as if it is barking 90 degrees to our far right, well outside the right speaker. If the dog seems to come from the speaker itself, try to move your listening position slightly forward and backward, maybe adjust the height a little bit, until the bark sits as far to your right as possible. This will be the optimal position. I will repeat the soundbite 3 times so you can fine-tune your position and find the best spot for maximum soundstage and immersion. Now that you hopefully are seated correctly, let's explore some tracks that represent great sound stages. You should really feel immersed in the music and have a really clear sense of instrument placement, width, and depth in the sound image.
They call it Stormy Monday. But Tuesday's just as bad. They call it Stormy Monday. But Tuesday's just as bad. Wednesday is worse, and Thursday's also sad. The eagle flies on Friday. Saturday, I go out to play. The eagle flies on Friday. Saturday, I go out to play. Sunday, I go to church. That's when I get down on my knees and I pray. I say, Lord have mercy. Oh,
What make men go crazy when a woman wears her dress so tight? Why do men go crazy when a woman wears her dress so tight? Must be the same old thing that makes a tomcat fight all night. Why do all of these men try to run a big leg woman down? Why do all of these men try to run a big leg woman down?
Next, we move on to listen for tonality and tone balance. For maximum enjoyment, we are looking for the system's ability to present less than bother smooth recordings in a good way. The following tracks we often use for assessing just that. We listen for instrument and voice tone, harshness and aggressiveness in the midtones. For example, the rim shot on the first track can sound very thin, but it really should have a little body to it.
Whenever God shine a light on me, open up my eyes so I can see. When I look up in the darkest night, then I know everything is gonna be alright. In deep confusion, in great despair, when I reach out for him, he is there. When I am lonely as I can be, and I know that
We want natural sound of each instrument without glare in the highs. This is where speakers either disappear or start coloring the sound.
Crickets are chirping, the water is high. There's a soft cotton dress on the line, hanging dry. The windows wide open, African trees bent over backwards from a hurricane breeze. Not a word of goodbye, not even a note. She gone with the man in the long black coat.
The human voice is the ultimate reference.
A tus brazos otra vez. Yo llegaré hasta donde estés. Yo sé perder y yo sé perder. Quiero volver, volver.
Our ears pick out phase problems in crossovers right away if they happen in the voice range. Listen for breath, texture, emotion, and how the voice sits in the room without sounding boxy or shouty. This is where most speakers reveal their true mid-range and top-end character.
Someday he'll come along, the man I love, and he'll be big and strong, the man I love. And when he comes my way, I'll do my best to make him stay.
Because your mind is made for thinking, and energy follows thought. Your mind is in control, even when you do not know. And if you let it idle, ain't no telling where it'll go.
This violin piece is great for tone. It should feel warm and you should be able to pick out the individual instruments easily. The true impact and realism of the music depends on the speaker and the room's ability to deliver punch, clarity, and a fast, unsmeared transient response. Here's some varied tracks great for evaluating just this.
La selva, el río, el viento, el fuego, los árboles, la noche, el fuego, los insectos, qué misterios nos esperan en el viaje. Sufriremos de la muerte sus ultrajes.
Face again, harbor in the shadows. Feel this weight of sin hammering away. Die with the guilt of 1,000 AWOL soldiers. Die, watch the sight usher me astray. I can't go on this way, not as I am today. The ugly side of me is strong. Take aim, a loaded gun. Hold back on all who run. A coward's truth inside the wrong. This means war. This means war. This means war.
Nobody knows when it all began. This kind of trouble between a woman and man. You know the nature of love bring pain, but you tell me you never wanna feel that way again. And I seem to be at the heart of all of your problems. You cut me to the bone, baby, you cut me to the bone. You know how to make a man feel alone the way you cut me to the bone.
And now, audiophiles, kindergarten time is over, the gloves are off, and it's time for the heavy hitters. This is where we separate the good from the really great. Depending on your music style, your system can really be challenged when being asked to convey big dynamic impact and serious low-end extension often at the same time. Not only can your room seriously impact low frequencies so that they appear unbalanced and boomy and downright obnoxious, but big dynamic bursts can take the speakers and amplifiers to the end of their capacity when a track suddenly requires plus 20 dBs extra headroom. that thing went boom. One thing is to be able to play loud. Another is just to have enough headroom available to maintain a reasonably realistic average playback level and still handle the most extreme musical peaks. And then there's the sub bass. With this track, you can really push your speakers to the breaking point. It is a track that will potentially excite your room modes too.
You live all your days according to his way.
And here, pure 29 Hz pressure. It's a track that can easily take smaller speakers to their end stops. Great for testing.
Everything happens for a reason, to make us stronger.
EDM is a really bass-heavy genre, but great punch and pressure is what gets the party started. Here's a couple of test faves.
But look
For maximum SPL testing, we settled with this track that are fairly dynamic and pushes bass hard around 46 Hz, suitable for most speakers. Even while most energy lives in the bass, some tracks will really push your tweeter. This track is a great one to provoke ringing artifacts. At the loudest section, your treble should still sound clean and well defined. After the initial assessments, we usually move to more popular music. Eclectic selections in jazz, pop, old and new. One thing is if a speaker sounds great with the best recordings, but are they great music communicators with lesser recordings? Is the foot tapping? Even an old mono track should show layers and detail.
I'll be glad when you're dead, you rascal you. You rascal you. I'll be glad when you're in your grave, you dog. Dirty dog. When you're dead and in your grave, no more ravioli will you crave. I'll be glad when you're dead, you rascal you. You rascal you. I'll be glad when you're dead, you rascal you. You rascal you. I'll be glad when you're in your grave, you dog. Dirty dog. I invite you to my house for a meal. All my meatballs you try to steal. You're a dirty dog. You dirty dog. I will be glad when you're dead, you rascal you. You rascal you. I'll be glad when you're in your grave, you dog. Dirty dog. I'll be standing on a corner plastered when they bring your body by. You're a devil.
Oh well, time flies when enjoying music. We hope you had big fun with this. You can repeat the session every time you make changes to your system and quickly run through different system exercises and notice the differences. Remember, there's no right or wrong. It's all about finding out what matters most to you and play around with it until you find your sound. Enjoy the journey and the joy of just listening. More great test tracks can be found on the Sonic Snacks playlist. You find the link in the link tree under every Stjernholm Reviews video on YouTube. See you there, and thank you for joining.
It's one small step for man,